Hello, friends. I'm glad to see you again. Today I want to tell you how my life turned into a courtroom soap opera the moment the HOA across the creek decided I'd be evicted if I didn't hand over half my farm. Yeah, that actually happened. They slapped a neon orange eviction notice right on my cabin door, like they were auditioning for Judge Judy or something. And it just flapped there in the wind while my dog Maple gave it the stink like the paper owed her money. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was official. Big blocks of capital letters, a fake file number, and a deadline written in red marker. All very theatrical, except for one detail. The people who left it weren't my landlord, weren't the county, weren't anyone with authority. Just a trio elected by a homeowners association across the creek. Folks who, with all the imagination of a bored raccoon, suddenly declared that my land was their land. Now, apparently I was guilty of two things. First, I didn't donate half my farm for their community pasture. Second, I never paid dues to a club I never joined. And let's not forget my roof. It wasn't one of their 5 approved colors. Their solution? Vacate my own cabin by the end of the month. So, I did what any reasonable person would do. Peeled that notice off, folded it in half, used it as kindling, and made my morning coffee over the same spark they thought would scare me. Maple wagged her tail. I scratched her ears, feeling that quiet satisfaction of boiling water over someone else's bluff. Then I leaned on my porch railing, looked down at the creek with the sun dancing off the water, and stared at the one thing the HOA couldn't touch, my ace in the hole. Right there, between 2 stone abutments my granddad laid by hand, sat the bridge, oak deck, steel truss, built by my dad 20 years ago. The county inspected it, and my parcel line wraps around both ends like a hug. It isn't fancy, but if you live in any of those 70 houses that mushroomed up on the far bank, you cross my bridge to get to the county road and, well, everything else. Here's the thing, I don't hold grudges by default. My granddad always said, a neighbor's someone you'll need twice, and I try to live that way. But there are 2 things I won't ignore, someone messing with my dog and someone messing with my deed. The HOA had already called animal control on Maple once. Now they were coming for my property. Let me back up a sec and give you the lay of the land. My family's been here longer than the subdivision. The cabin was a hunting shack that got winterized, then plumbed, then made respectable by a retired carpenter who liked his lines level. The farm's a patchwork, pasture, orchard, garden that feeds me honest all year. The creek is the boundary, the bridge the only way to cross without swimming. Years ago, a developer bought the far side, carved it up, then went bankrupt. Another developer finished the job, but somewhere in that shuffle, nobody ever recorded an easement for my bridge. We let folks cross because it made sense, a handshake deal. Keep the approaches tidy, share the maintenance. It was never written up, just a signed letter and a handshake. The second developer acted like that handshake was part of the land. It wasn't, but I didn't make a fuss. People crossed, we waved. It worked. All that changed last winter when a new HOA board took over. The ringleader, Truman, dressed like he was about to sell you a boat and talked like he'd read one article on property rights and didn't understand it. He had 2 lieutenants, Bree, who smiles when she says no, and Mac, who prints everything on colored paper because he likes the crinkle. Their platform? Standards and amenities. They wanted a community farm for the Instagram crowd, a trail system that looped the creek, mostly on my side, and a gate at the county road with cameras to keep the riffraff, which is apparently me and anyone with mud on their tires, out. The first letter they sent was so polite you could hear the tension. Dear neighbor, we hope you'll join us. What they wanted? Access over my bridge, plus half my farmable land for their common area. In return, I'd get my name on a plaque and maybe sell veggies at their Saturday market. They even hinted that if I didn't join, there might be conflicts over compliance. Bree cornered me at the mailbox. We'd really hate to escalate anything. I dropped the letter next to a jar of honey and forgot about it, until the orange notice appeared. Soon after, another letter landed. Violations this time. Non-approved roof, roofers wake-up calls, the works. Then came the real kicker. HOA guys with posts and chains, setting up a barrier halfway down my driveway like they were closing a county fair. You're on my property, I told them. We have authority. Mac waved his plastic clipboard. Show me, I said and waited. All he had was the same bogus notice and a bare hand pointing like a TV bailiff. Maple growled. I called the sheriff's non-emergency line. Deputy Mara showed up, cool, calm, collected. She read the papers, looked at me, then at Mac. This is not how this works. Remove your stuff. Mac tried to explain. Mara explained better. Either take your posts or ride in the back of my cruiser. Mac left with his posts. That night, I dug out the family folder marked Bridge plus Creek. Inside, deeds, surveys, a letter from the first developer about maintenance, county inspector's sign-off, and a photo of my granddad grinning on the bridge. Next morning, I went to the county recorder's office, got certified copies of everything, and filed a notice revoking any permission for crossing the bridge, along with a no trespass order. The clerk slid the forms over like she'd seen it all before. We can't give legal advice, but these are the forms for conflict. Then I visited a lawyer, Darla. Old maps on her walls, coffee that could melt steel. I told her the story, showed the paperwork. She read it all, then said, "They can't evict you, can't fine you, can't touch your land. They could try for a prescriptive easement, but with all this proof of permission? No way." She told me to document everything. Cameras, logs, the works. "Can I gate the bridge?" I asked. "Yes. Just make sure emergency access is available. Swinging gate, fire department lock. Don't strand anyone, but you don't owe them a shortcut." I put up cameras, ordered signs, bought a heavy-duty gate. Told the fire chief, Ira, who swung by, checked clearances, and gave me his blessing, as long as the emergency key was available. Even got a letter from him confirming the setup. The HOA folks gathered at the bridge, Truman in a mint green polo, Bree with a clipboard, Keely the mom who once brought banana bread. I measured where the gate would go. Truman blustered, "You can't block this crossing. It's private. Permissions revoked." I replied, holding up my paperwork. Keely pulled me aside. "My husband needs this bridge for work. School bus crosses here. Can you leave mornings open? School buses and emergencies can cross. I'm not trying to hurt families, but I'm done letting the board bully me." Truman muttered about lawyers. "Bring them," I said. 2 days later, Darla's cease and desist letter went out, citing trespass, deceptive practices, and offering a deal. "Let's do this right. License for emergency and select vehicles, written agreement, fair terms." The HOA responded with another flyer, calling a community meeting and painting me as the villain. So I went. Model home, neutral couches, fake plant, and a cartoon bridge on a PowerPoint. I stood up, flashed my stamped deeds, county letter, told the truth. No recorded easement. Bridge is private. HOA has no authority. Gates going up. Emergency access will be honored. Everyone else needs a license or alternate route. The old logging road. Longer but there. The room split. Some folks angry, some relieved. Keely raised her hand. "Is there a way to avoid a war over this?" "Yes," I said. "If the board admits they overstepped and we sign a proper agreement for school buses, commercial trucks, while the rest use the logging road." Murmurs everywhere. I left them to it and finished installing the gate. A couple days later, my trail cams caught 2 men sneaking along the creek with a black hose. They'd rigged a pump from my side, pulling creek water to fill the HOA's decorative pond, without a permit. I called the water district. Sonia the ranger came, took photos, and promised citations. That same day, I got a letter from the HOA's attorney, demanding I restore access and threatening to sue. Darla was ready. She filed for a court order declaring my bridge private, no easement, restraining the HOA from interfering. Gate finished, NOx box in place, signs up. The first morning I locked it, delivery trucks turned around. Residents asked what now? "Talk to your board," I said. "We'll work with the school and emergencies. The rest is up to them." That night, I wrote Bridge Day 1 in a notebook and logged every interaction. I expected fireworks, angry posts, rude gestures, people honking at the gate, but mostly it was confusion. Can my husband get to work? Isn't the bridge public? The board had left them in the dark. Soon the water district posted violations at the pond. The sheriff brought me a temporary restraining order. The board tried again. Before sunrise, Maple heard them and I caught Truman and Mac with bolt cutters. "There's a court order," I said. "You're on the wrong side of it." They stammered about a medical emergency. "No, the fire district key is for emergencies. That's how it works." Deputy Mara arrived, handed out citations, and told me to call if it happened again. Then came a flyer about mandatory contributions for bridge improvements. stuffed in mailboxes without postage, which, you know, is a federal offense. I called the postal inspector. He collected the evidence, raised an eyebrow, and promised to educate whoever stuffed those boxes, possibly with a fine attached. The little satisfactions count. The real finale played out in court. Darla presented the deeds, letters, photos, the fire chief's letter, and evidence the subdivision had another legal road. The judge listened, then turned to the HOA's lawyer. Why should I force him to restore access he never owed, especially after threats and that illegal pump? The ruling: injunction for me. HOA off my land. Their necessity. Argument denied because they had another route. They had to pay fees for the fake eviction and the bolt cutter stunt. After that, life got better. The school district got a timed window for the bus, the fire department kept access, and the HOA was ordered to grade the back road. Bree apologized for the mailbox and water mess. Sonia from the water district issued more fines, and the HOA's board turned over. Healy and two new folks took over, dropped all claims, signed a temporary license for essential vehicles. Traffic flowed again. I kept the bridge for emergencies, the school bus, and my own peace of mind. A month later, the court made it official. My bridge is private. No easement exists. The HOA has no jurisdiction here. Fines, workshops, and a new board resolution. Boundaries end where the recorded lots end. I even put the land into conservation, so the next clipboard warrior can't try this play again. Now the gate opens for the bus, shuts for the rest. Kids laugh across the water, and Maple finally gets to relax. The orange eviction notice is tucked in a folder with my granddad's bridge photo. A reminder that no is a complete sentence, especially when it's backed by a deed and a law that doesn't care about flyers. This wasn't revenge, it was repair. Now I want to hear from you. What would you have done? Who do you think was right? Drop your thoughts below, especially if you've tangled with a board or fought for your rights. Let's talk justice, neighbors. See you next time.